larger, closing the distance. For 7 miles they had stalked, patient and calculating. Now they were predators in full chase. Mark's military instincts were alive in every decision he made. He knew the sedan behind them had speed, numbers, and momentum. He knew their patrol car, now compromised, would not hold up in a prolonged fight. His only advantage was unpredictability. And unpredictability, in the hands of someone trained, is often the difference between life and death. As the black sedan closed in, Mark swerved hard across lanes, forcing civilian traffic into chaos. Horns blared. Tires screeched. Innocent drivers swerved out of the way, unaware that they were now part of a larger war playing out on asphalt. From the passenger seat, David described it like being inside a storm. Everything was noise. Tires, horns, people yelling. But behind all of it, I could still hear that engine, the black car coming for us. It didn't matter what we did. It was locked on. The pursuit stretched on for nearly 3 more miles. At times, the patrol car and the black sedan were separated only by inches. At others, Mark managed to pull ahead, weaving through traffic with surgical precision. But always, the black sedan returned. Relentless. Unshaken. It was during this chase that something else became clear. This was not the work of amateurs. Their movements were too precise, their aggression too coordinated. Even when cut off by traffic, even when forced into near collisions, the black sedan regained its position with terrifying control. Mark recognized it immediately. He had seen this kind of pursuit before, in combat zones, in convoy ambushes, in the moments when survival hinged on instinct rather than firepower. These were not gang members looking for revenge. These were professionals executing a mission, and missions like this do not exist without purpose. Why? That question haunted both men as much as the chase itself. Why would anyone orchestrate an attack with this level of planning, with this level of sacrifice? What could possibly be so valuable that a man would willingly turn his motorcycle into a weapon, sacrificing his life in the process? For Mark, the question didn't matter in that moment. His focus was survival. His voice on the dash recording was calm, almost detached. "Stay sharp," he said. "We're not out yet. Eyes open. Don't lose focus." David's voice, by contrast, carried the weight of fear, but also a spark of defiance. "They want us alive. That's the only reason they haven't hit harder. But if they can't take us alive, they'll kill us here. You know that, right?" Mark didn't answer. Some truths don't need words. As the chase thundered on, a new tactic emerged. The black sedan attempted to overtake them, swerving alongside the patrol car at deadly speeds. The intention was clear: force them off the road, box them into a fatal collision, or pin them into a kill zone where escape would be impossible. Mark responded with precision, slamming the wheel to edge them away, keeping the sedan from completing the maneuver. The patrol car jolted violently, metal scraping, sparks flying. But still, they stayed on the road. David described the sensation as a war of wills. It felt like they weren't even driving cars. It was like two predators trying to rip each other apart. Every move they made, Mark countered. Every time they tried to box us, he slipped out. I don't know how we were still alive, but I knew it couldn't last forever. And then, for a brief moment, the chase shifted. The black sedan fell back, its headlights retreating into the distance. Silence settled in the car, heavy and suffocating. David's breathing was loud, ragged. Mark's hands remained steady on the wheel, but he knew better than to believe it was over. In his own words, years later, he described the sensation. "I've been in enough fights to know the silence is worse than the noise. When they disappeared, I didn't feel relief. I felt dread. Because if I couldn't see them, it meant they were planning something bigger." That instinct proved correct. The black sedan had not abandoned the pursuit. It had repositioned. It had shifted the strategy. 2 minutes later, New headlights appeared, not behind, but ahead. Another vehicle. Another player entering the board. The realization hit instantly. This wasn't a single team ambush. This was a network. Multiple vehicles, multiple operatives, all converging on one objective. The black sedan had forced them forward, herding them straight into another trap. David's voice trembled as he recalled that moment. I thought we were done. I really did. When I saw those headlights, I thought, this is it. This is how it ends. But once again, Mark refused to surrender. He pressed the accelerator harder, eyes locked forward, searching for gaps, searching for chances, searching for survival. And in that decision, in that raw refusal to give in, he bought them more time. The highway became a battlefield. Civilian cars swerved desperately, some narrowly avoiding collisions, others forced onto the shoulder. The new vehicle ahead swerved violently, attempting to block them. At the same time, the black sedan closed in from behind, completing the kill box. Mark's options dwindled. Left meant collision. Right meant a ditch. Slowing meant certain death. So he chose the only option left, acceleration. The patrol car roared, engine screaming under the strain, broken glass rattling like shrapnel. Mark threaded the needle between the new vehicle and a civilian car, scraping paint, tearing mirrors, but breaking free. For a moment, the trap collapsed, but the danger had only escalated. Because now, Mark and David knew the truth. This was not the work of a single team, not even two. This was larger. This was coordinated across multiple units, designed with layers of contingency. And still, the question burned in their minds. Why? Why were two men in a patrol car worth all of this? Mark never let himself answer in the moment. His only mission was forward motion. But David later admitted that the thought never left him. I kept asking myself, who are we really fighting? This wasn't random. This wasn't some gang. Somebody sent them. Somebody gave the order. And that meant somebody, somewhere, wanted us dead more than they wanted their men alive. That realization is what makes this attack more chilling than the footage itself. Because the footage shows chaos, but it does not reveal purpose. Purpose is hidden in the shadows of whoever orchestrated this attack, and purpose means power. Mark and David survived the second trap. They survived the opening wave. But they were still being hunted, still being funneled into the unknown. The ambush had failed. The chase had failed. But the mission of their attackers had not yet ended. For Mark and David, the night was far from over. The highway still stretched ahead. The black sedan was still behind. And the question of why would only grow darker as the pursuit unfolded. The silence never lasts. In combat, in life, in moments where death hovers just outside your window, silence is never safety. Silence is strategy. And Mark knew that better than anyone. The black sedan was no longer tailing them as closely as before. Its headlights had dipped. Its pursuit had grown faint. But Mark's gut told him what experience had already taught him 100 times over. When the enemy disappears, it is not retreat. It is repositioning. David would later describe that quiet stretch as the most terrifying moment of the night. I wanted to believe it was over. I kept looking at the mirrors, hoping the lights wouldn't come back. But deep down, I knew. Mark didn't even look relieved. His face was like stone. He knew they were setting us up for something worse. And he was right. 2 miles later, the trap tightened again. This time, the attack was not from behind. Headlights appeared in the distance, weaving erratically through traffic, moving fast, too fast to be ordinary. Another vehicle, another player. The realization hit hard. This wasn't just one car or one bike. This was a network, a coordinated team operating with layers of redundancy. If one attempt failed, another was waiting ahead. If the motorcycle's sacrifice couldn't stop them, If the black sedan couldn't pin them, then reinforcements would take over. This was not road rage. This was a mission. The second vehicle accelerated toward them, closing the distance with alarming speed. Meanwhile, the black sedan re-emerged in the rearview mirror, lights blazing brighter, pushing harder, more aggressive than ever. Mark and David were caught between jaws. Mark's mind shifted into combat rhythm, his hands steady, his breathing controlled, his voice calm. "They're hurting us," he muttered, almost to himself. "They're closing the box." David's voice was sharper, edged with panic, but also awareness. "They want us alive. That's why they haven't rammed us yet. But if they can't get us alive, they'll take us dead." Those words were not paranoia. They were truth.